Okay, continuing yesterday's topic of owning guns, training, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. First is a disclaimer that everything that we're talking today is just from Torah point of view. I don't know the legal system, that you have to speak to those that know the legalities. So anything that we're saying is just what the Torah says. It's for theory, of course, that what you're allowed to do, you have to find out legally. Today we'll speak about the castle doctrine, which means that your home is your castle. If somebody walks into your home, in most states, you're allowed to use force, even deadly force, against somebody who just an intruder that just comes into your house. In New York, it's a little bit more restrictive. So you need to know what's the law in New York. I don't know exactly, but I know that you have to have a reasonable feeling that the person is coming to harm you, whether it is to do physical damage in any kind of sort, but not only if he comes to rob the house. But we'll speak today about הבא במחתרת, that's נוגע very much this question of somebody that walks into your house. But again, if an intruder walks into your house and you reasonably think that he posed a threat, whether it's death or bodily injury or anything like that, you may use force. That is normally the castle doctrine. Now we'll see what the Torah says about הבא במחתרת. The Torah speaks about a person that הבא במחתרת means he digs a tunnel into your house. Now it doesn't have to be a tunnel really that he goes underground and and that has an opening into your house, but rather it means that he's able to force himself in, whether it is from a window, from a side door, from the wall. He makes a hole in the wall, he gets in. Then the Torah says that that's called בא במחתרת, דמים אין לו. You don't have blood guilt for killing him. He doesn't have blood, says the Torah. What does that mean? It means that he was mafkir is himself for you to be able to do whatever is needed to protect yourself. Now, what's the idea behind it? Chachamim explain. Rashi brings this on a place. It's in Shemot Kafei, the first pasuk in Shemot Kafbet, pasuk Aleph. Rashi explains, and this is what Chazal explained in Sanhedrin Ayin Bet, that when somebody walks into your house to rob the house, then he knows in his mind, it's psychological knowledge that if the owner is there, he's going to do everything possible to stand up against the intruder. He's going to make sure to do whatever is needed, even if it means that the owner would try to kill the thief, the robber. And since he knows that, the robber knows that what goes on in his mind, he comes in knowing that he's coming either to kill or to be killed. That's what it is. If he's able to rob the house while the owner is sleeping, or he thinks that the owner is might not be home, or is in a different room, no. So then he'll get out, he'll take what he wants, and he'll get out, and everything's good. But he knows that if the owner wakes up and he sees him, he'll do whatever's needed, whatever it takes to stop him. And if he has a gun, the owner has a gun, he'll use it. So therefore, he also comes with that mind that I'm coming to kill or be killed. That's what it is. And therefore, the Torah says, damim en lo. There's no blood guilt. You're able to kill him because he's coming to kill. It becomes a pikuach nefesh. It becomes something that's dangerous. The Torah says that this is vadai, for sure that that's what he's going to do. He's coming to make sure that if the owner stands against him, he'll do whatever is needed to kill the owner before the owner kills him. Okay, so therefore, having somebody walks into your house, it's very, very dangerous. That is the Torah understanding. Again, in legal system, it doesn't work like that. If a person walks in, so you have to know whether he's armed, he's not armed. If he's just coming to rob the house and he's not armed, you can't just use a gun against him, right? You can't just use deadly force against him. That is illegal. According to the Torah, Torah goes into the psychology of a person. The psychology of a person, if he walks in, he'll do whatever's needed to make sure that he's not hurt. He knows that you're going to make sure that you'll stop him in any way that's possible, even with deadly force. That is the reason that he'll also use deadly force against you, and that is the reason he has now a din of a rodef. Rodef means somebody that's trying to kill you. Since that's the idea of the intruder that comes into your house, the robber that comes into your house, you're allowed to indeed use that force against him. You understand? It's like back and forth, back and forth. Abba leorgecha, that's what the Gemara says over there. Abba leorgecha, ashkem leorgo. That is where we learn this concept of Abba leorgecha. Somebody who comes to kill you, you're allowed to kill him before he kills you. Abba leorgecha, ashkem leorgo. I'm just explaining the psychology. It's a few steps. He comes in knowing that you'll stand against him and kill him if needed to stop him from robbing your house. Since he knows that, he's coming to kill. Since he's coming to kill, defend himself even by deadly force, therefore he's haba leorgecha, he's coming to kill you. That is idea. Therefore you're allowed to kill him. What about just don't do anything? Don't do anything. Just leave the house. The Torah says, Chachamim explained that the Torah says that the person is not able to stop, to see somebody walks into his house, to rob his house, rob his belonging, take everything that he has, and stay idle or leave the house. A person is not able. So therefore, that is how the psychology works over here. So let's talk about this a little bit. The Torah says, machteret, abba b'machteret, damim en lo. Abba b'machteret, וזרחה עליו השמש, okay, let's go, that's the next pasuk. Before we go into that, what does it mean machteret? Says the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Ayin Bet Amud Bet, en li ela machteret, which means that's only if he digs a tunnel. What about gago, chatzero, karfefo? If he comes in any other means, that the law is the same thing. Im yimatzeh haganav, yimatzeh mikol makom, says the Gemara, which means anyway he'll come into your house, whether he broke into through a window, through a crack in a door, he broke the main door and he got in. The halacha is the same, that it's considered ba b'machteret, damim en lo. You're allowed to defend yourself however is needed. It doesn't make a difference if he comes in, by the way, on Yom Chol or Yom Shabbat. Even if he comes in Shabbat, you might say you want to use your gun to defend yourself. Maybe it's better to leave the gun in your drawer and leave the house. You using a gun is Chilul Shabbat. You're not allowed to violate the Shabbat. But again, since we're dealing with a person that's not able to stop himself from seeing somebody that's walking into his house to rob the house, and he's coming to kill or be killed, you're allowed to use it, says the Gemara, ben bechol, ben b'Shabbat. Same Gemara over there, everything that we're learning. Okay? Not only if he comes to steal, by the way. Not only if he comes to steal, even if he comes to terrorize you, he comes to damage, he comes to vandalize your house. He comes in. Today it's very relevant. It used to be, there's different types of intruders. One, for instance, is the classic one. He comes to rob the house. That used to be the normal. What's the new normal? The new normal is that people come into your house either for jihad, so they're not interested in your money, they're not interested in your house. That's not what they're coming in. So that's even more dangerous. That's even worse than Babi Machteret. He comes in with a mission. Then you have those that just come in to vandalize. They're not interested in your money. They're also not interested in your life. They come in to vandalize. There's also such a thing in today's day and age. That's the new normal. Come to vandalize. It's such a concept today that people like to damage things, to break things. It could be for different reasons, but that's what it is. The Minchat Shlomo says it doesn't have to be for robbery, even if he comes to vandalize or do something else. Even if he doesn't have a weapon, let's say you see somebody in the camera and he's wearing shorts, and he's coming without a shirt, and he's wearing shorts, so you can clearly see that he doesn't have a knife, he doesn't have a gun. Let's say you can see such a thing. There's a Sefer Chut HaMeshulash and Afikei Yam that say that it doesn't make a difference. The Torah didn't make a chiluk between how he comes, whether he comes with a weapon or not. Still, he's going to do anything that is possible to stop you from hurting him, and he's willing to do even he's willing to physically hurt you, and therefore the Torah permits that as well. What about warning him beforehand? You see in the camera somebody lo alenu, somebody gets into the house, so maybe you should warn him first. Get out. That's called atra'ah. Get out, or I have a gun in my hand. So obviously, I think legally I have to do it. Again, I'm not talking right now legally. I'm talking what the Torah allows. What are you saying? You don't have to legally? Depend on the state. I'm talking about the worst state in the United States. Where is it? New York. Okay, we all agree. I didn't say it.
Unless he has a weapon, you're not allowed to use
You're always going to be in default whatever you do in New York. New York would give the right of way to the intruder. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. The Torah says that you don't have to give atra'ah. Why? The concept is machtarto zoi atra'ato. Just the fact that it comes in, that's called atra'ah. That's called giving a warning. It's like he was warned. And therefore, you're allowed to do whatever's needed without warning him, without telling him, oh, I have a gun, be careful. You don't have to do that. But some, in the Gemara, there's machloket, whether you have to warn him if he just came through the front door while the door was open. Let's say a person left the door open. Some places just leave the door open, they don't lock the door. And he gets in, you see it on the camera, you hear him, or you look out and you see somebody. Then some would hold, and this seems to be the halacha, that you have to warn him first. Why? Because maybe he didn't come. Maybe many things. Yeah, that could be.
That was his house.
Let's see some scenarios where you're not allowed to use deadly force. Let's say, im zarcha alav hashemesh, says the Torah. It's a case that the sun, that's literally what the Torah says, the sun shines. What does it mean? Everything in that pasuk is just meshalim, is parables to what the real meaning is. But the idea over here is that if it's in the open and there's people there, there's witnesses, then he's not going to use deadly force. Why? Because he knows once he does that, he's going to be persecuted, especially in their time. Somebody that kills would be put to death. It's the capital punishment that he would put to. In Beit Din, that's what they would do to him. So therefore, if there are witnesses, there's people that seeing him, then you're not allowed to hurt him. Also, if he left the house, if the man left the house already, so then he's taking your things, he robbed you, but he left the house. You can run after him, you can try to get it, but you can't use, again, your weapon against him. So one needs to be careful where it's allowed to be used, where it's not allowed to be used. But once he left the house, it becomes problematic. There's a question in the poskim of whether a person is allowed on Shabbat Kodesh, let's say. You see a robber walks into a house, and then he walks out. Once he walks out, the people are not in danger anymore. They're not in danger anymore. Can you film him? Can you take your phone and photograph him? Take a video. Why? Because usually a person that robbed that house is going to go afterwards to a different house. Are you allowed to call the police? Make sure that he doesn't go to the next house. Pashtut, you are allowed. It's a dangerous scenario when somebody walks into the house. Pashtut, you are allowed to do whatever's needed because you are protecting the next victim. But if there would be such a case that he's walking out and you're never going to see him again, he's not coming into the neighborhood again, he's not robbing the neighborhood again, he's not putting anybody in danger, then you wouldn't be allowed on Shabbat to do anything about it.